right? Let me hear what states are here on this call. Let me hear from you. What states are on this call? All right, I see New York. I see Johan. What's up, Johan? Awesome. Pennsylvania, Idaho, all these different states, all of you could sell IUL right now on an instant approval with no underwriting, no delay of commission, no delay of approval and benefit to your client. And look, let's face it, we're in a new era. We're in a digital age. Ethos, let's be honest. In experience, there is not one person there's no way to have a product or a solution or an offering that everyone's going to feel the exact same way about. But there is a place for ethos everywhere. And here's what I would tell you. Before we go into the slides and I introduce Madison, I just want to share a few ideas that I think can help you either begin conversations, reframe the conversation, revisit the conversation. And let me tell you, that's just the season we are in. Let me ask you a question. Are you prepared to harvest your efforts in this last 60 days of the year? And I say 60 days because whatever you do in October and November is going to show up in December. And if you want to have and look, here's the truth. I know what it's like to go into a holiday season and have the financial pressure and kind of the overall, it's not even in my home, we don't live by the gifts. Does that make sense? It's nice to have them, but it's just not the thing and not the culture in our home. Here's my point. In the holiday season, looking back on your year, looking back on your first year of GFI, looking back on, I think just overall, society, the world, the climate in our country, everything, you start to evaluate your life. And I hope all of you, as entrepreneurs, as leaders within GFI, as people that are, really making an effort to embody our values of the 5 F's, which is really an opportunity for all of us to self-examine ourselves and improve, right? And that self-accountability. When we're talking about onboarding a new agent or sitting down with a family and protecting them and talking about their next generation, having peace of mind, at least financially, it's a very intimate conversation. It's a very serious conversation. We're talking about agencies with contractual ownership. We're talking about what we're doing today, right now on this call is literally not just affecting today, tomorrow, everyone we come across through our platform, but the next generations of not just entrepreneurs, but also family members for all of us. So I believe there's room, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there's room for us to increase our commitment to that effort of really taking it seriously that if we don't go out and protect families and just bring this message to everybody in a either more creative way, more aggressive way. And when I say aggressive, I don't mean pushy and off-putting and unbranding. Does that make sense? Like I'm saying we need to be methodical, respectful, and aggressive about our message. Why? Because look, I never met a person that did not believe in life insurance that was sitting at a funeral. Does that make sense? I never met a person that didn't believe in life insurance that was holding up or posting or sharing a GoFundMe account. And I just want to share a few things that I think will help you before I bring up Madison. But here's the thing. I want to share, I'm going to say 3 to 5 strategies because I get going and then I get going. But in the next 15 minutes, I believe that if you could zero in on the next 15 minutes, I believe it could help you maybe bring up the message of protecting families in maybe a little bit different way, and give you an opportunity to protect the family in that conversation. So I want to go over a few, but before I do, I want to know, what are you doing currently that's helping you be successful with Ethos? What's something you're doing currently that's helping you be successful with Ethos, right? And maybe you could share, hey, I protected 5 families this month, 20 families this month. I talked to a gentleman from Southern, he's on Anthony Franco's team. And they just transitioned here from a different organization, $1 million earner in a different company that transitioned here. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but in his first 60 days or his first 30 days, I forget the correct number, this man's already placed well over 100 policies with Ethos. And I don't know if Madison's heard about this or you have the real number, Madison. You could share that here shortly. But here's my point. Start thinking bigger, start thinking faster, start thinking, I need to protect families before the opportunity is gone. I would write this down. Write this down. Number 1, here's number 1 strategy, okay? I want you to develop a script here's the first strategy. Write this down. You are insurable now. What we do know is that you are insurable today. You are more insurable today than you will be tomorrow. The only way to really know is to take you through our instant approval process. If in the next 10 minutes, we can put an extra $1 million in your family's net worth and give them peace of mind, would it make sense to move forward? Let me go ahead and grab a little bit of information. Does that make sense? Like, this is not difficult, but it's really it's a conversation that leads to a commitment that every parent, every family member, every homeowner knows that they need to make. Does that make sense? At one point or another. And it's one of those decisions that if delayed, it just becomes more expensive. And I say that all the time, right? Script number 2, what I found is that life insurance or protecting your family is one of those commitments we all know we need to make. What I found is protecting our family is one of those commitments we all know we need to make. And the longer we procrastinate, the more expensive it becomes. So if in the next 10 minutes we can get it out of the way, wouldn't it make sense to just move forward? If in the next 10 minutes we can get it out of the way, wouldn't it make sense to just move forward? And listen, there's different clients, there's different needs, different scenarios, and you're not committed to doing all of their business in one visit. So maybe in the first visit, you're sitting down with a family like I did 3 days ago that had no protection. And I said, look, I'd rather walk away from this conversation, from this call, with your family already protected. In the next 10 minutes, what I'll do, I didn't say if you're interested, I said what I will do is begin your instant approval process, see what we can get you approved for with Ethos. If it covers all of your needs, then great, we found a solution. And if it doesn't, we can circle back on our next call and cover all of those additional needs. What does that mean? Maybe you're in California and you can't offer living benefits. No big deal. You can do their term mortgage protection with Ethos and combine the coverage and add living benefits somewhere else. My point is, there's so many opportunities to be versatile with Ethos, and we have a commitment with Ethos to go protect the next 1 million families. And imagine when your organization's protecting 100,000 families a month, and GFI is protecting millions of families a month, and that is just a compounded effort of all of us getting in alignment and making sure that we're adding the Ethos solution everywhere we can. Maybe you placed a product with a client in the past and you're just sending the code. Maybe you're just sending a newsletter and this information's there. Maybe you have an online or end of the year campaign, and we can go on and on and on. But here's the deal. What we're all excited to hear about tonight is this new ICA flow. And here's the thing, as you're bringing on new agents, we want their process and their experience to be as seamless as possible. And guess what? The less friction that we can, the more friction we can remove out of the process. And we do that with 2 ways. Aligning from a technology standpoint, which Ethos is helping us do. They have 400 engineers and they dedicated a full team to help us do this. And there's many more developments that are going to be coming ahead. So this partnership is not just a partnership brand to brand, but they're helping us from a technology standpoint, which is amazing. And you see Ethos throughout the fabric of GFI. And that's one thing that I can tell you, working with the Ethos team, they get things done. They move quickly. They listen well. Feedback is a gift. We've learned a lot just from working with them directly. And I know Jamar is very involved, and I work with him closely to continue to drive the performance from GFI. Let me tell you one thing.
Recording in progress.
Currently, right now, as we speak, we are the #2 channel with Ethos. And as you guys know, our CEO, Eric Olson's not okay with #2, and hopefully you are not as well. We want to make sure that we protect and here's the thing, right? Nothing against any other company at all whatsoever, but this is the fun part, right? Competition drives performance. And I just want to remind all of you, competition pulls the best out of us. Over these next 60 days, challenge yourself for it to pull the best out of you as you're enrolling new agents. I want you to not just think about, oh, we have a new ICA and that's going to take care of all of the friction points. It's going to help. And technology is essential and very much needed to be efficient and scale and grow faster. But I want to remind all of us the value of maintaining personal communication, personal engagement, going back to my original point, and keeping that personal human element and that touch all over your business, all over your organization. What does that mean? You're making time to have voice conversations, visual, whether it's on Zoom or in person. One thing we do in Alpha, we're going to be launching an Alpha Academy. That's our team name, Alpha. And that academy is driven around helping our agents become CFTs. And that means that, guess what? They are proficient with Ethos. That's one of the requirements. We want to make sure that people are able to come in and get paid immediately. We want them to get results. This is not something that's supposed to take a long time. You should come in your first 30 days of being licensed. We've seen people make north of $5,000, north of $10,000 their very first cycle. We've seen some astronomical cycles. And let me tell you something, Ethos is an essential piece. And now that we're integrating our systems, integrating our experience further through this ICA flow, I'm just excited for what's going to happen because business is moving faster. And write this down, speed is currency. Speed is currency. I'll be sharing a little bit more. We're going to do a little Q&A here after Madison shares the details of what's coming out of Ethos. It took everything out of me to not begin like spilling the beans and sharing I just reviewed the slides. I wish I hadn't seen them, but I think I did pretty good. So thank you everybody for all of your attention. And here's the thing, as we're speaking, I want you to do me a favor, drop all of your questions. Are Ethos term policies convertible? Perfect question. Drop all of those questions into the chat. And I'm going to be sourcing these questions. And afterwards, I will make sure I cover these questions with Madison. And you're gonna be fired up with what you're about to hear. We're coming to the end of the year. And let me tell you one thing before I hand it over. I gotta know right now. I want to see a show of hands. How many of you are already registered for our upcoming annual first ever historic impact awards? How many of you are already registered? Awesome. I want to see Cedric Blake. I see your hand up. That's awesome. I want to see all of your hand ups. Blow up the chat. And here's the deal. I just want to clarify. If you are a marketing director, by title on the computer, you right now need to make sure that you have a ticket and that you are registered for this event. It is going to sell out. And if you don't hurry up and get your seat, by the way, if you're thinking, oh, I'll do this next week, that ticket won't be there next week. I guarantee it. I'm watching these sales go up and you want to make sure you get these tickets done. So with that said, I just want to let you know the Impact Awards is going to blow your mind. I won't go into it now, but there's no negotiation. You're a marketing director. This is your first year. You came here for ownership. You put everything on the line. If you came from a different company, whatever it is, like you already know, right? We are not here to mess around. We are here to make commitments and make sure that we're doing what's never been done before. And I want to encourage all of you to make that decision and make sure you get there. If you have something else going on, reschedule it, figure it out, whatever it is. Life always gets in the way. I will tell you, every time I've made a decision to put myself in that right room, in that environment, something happened, something shifted. And really, you know what it was at the end of the day? It was me. It's where we choose to plant ourselves that will bring out the best out of us. And now what I know is that environment is going to be fertile for business growth. So I encourage all of you to get there. Without further ado, Madison, I just want to say thank you for the partnership. Thank you for just being so willing to answer the call every single time. Like I was there when this call was being discussed on our ambassador meeting, and right away you're like, yep, I'll make it happen. Whatever it is, I'll be on the call. And I just appreciate that willingness to support our team. We're serious about our goals, and we see Ethos is as well. And I just want to say thank you for your hard work and your professionalism. Every single day we'll be engaged. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm super excited to be here. I think this is the first ever Ethos GFI evening training. I could be wrong, but I think this is the first one. So super excited to be here for that. I have a couple of slides I'm going to share with you guys. So let me figure out how to share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see this? because of the feedback that you guys give, and being a technology partner with GFI gives us the ability to protect all of these families alongside with you. So this is a huge number. This is phenomenal. We still have 60 days left, 90 days left to really kind of capitalize on that. But this is huge so far. So I just really wanted to thank you guys and capitalize on that and show just the impact that we have made so far this year alone. So on that note, protecting families, we are now making it even easier for you to onboard your agent. So newer, faster ICA flow. As GFI's tech partner, we have built this especially for you guys. It's going to make it even faster, easier to recruit and sign up all your new agents so GFI can keep growing at the fast pace it's growing at right now. This is a really great program. So you're going to start the recruiting process by sending your new agents this onboarding link. They're going to fill out their information, your referral code. They'll go through the onboarding process, pay their membership fee, incorporate their NPN. The whole thing is done in less than 10 minutes. So this is a truly phenomenal onboarding process. It's launching within the next couple of days. So you should be getting emails sent to you and text messages when this goes live. But this is absolutely huge, and we are very, very excited to have partnered with GFI. We have a whole team of developers that have worked on this alongside with upper management, leadership, developers at GFI. And it really, truly, I've been in this industry on the carrier side for 10 plus years. And this onboarding process is truly unlike anything I have ever seen in the industry. So this really is a game changer. I think you guys are going to love it. There's not going to be any type of onboarding process like this anywhere in the industry. So your agents are onboarded. We can get them going. We have a whole plethora of products. You guys know this, just kind of wanted to touch base really quickly. We've got term life insurance, IUL, whole life. We can offer coverage to almost anyone. One thing Randy and I were chatting before the call, what questions are we either A, hearing or B, not hearing enough? And so I kind of wanted to touch on this because I think that all of the products and everything that we have to offer sometimes is underutilized. If you go through the waterfall process, it'll route your client to a product that fits best for them if you don't know where to put them. We have free estate planning tools with every policy that you sell. So this is another way to solidify your business and kind of help drive that home that we are really full service for not only you as the agent, but for the client as well. It pivots easily if your client is not approved for a specific product. So you can do it all just in one simple, seamless process instead of pivoting from carrier to carrier. And then the other thing I always like to touch on is the Ethos portal. So all of this information is available in the Ethos portal. But what I really like to focus on is the resource center. So we have our marketing team has been working diligently the last couple of months, and you will continue to see some updates over the next couple of months with videos, one-pagers, flyers for both you and your clients on all of our writers, perm links, coverage amounts, any training that you have missed or you're wanting to recap, learn a little bit more about, estate planning guides, all are now available for you on the Ethos agent portal. We have a great search feature, so it's almost like a chat function, and you can just type in exactly what you're looking for. So say you have a client that calls you and they're like, I need a little bit more information about this estate planning. You can go onto your resource portal, type in there estate planning, hit search, and our smart search feature is going to pop up all of the information that you need to know about the estate planning. So all of that is available to you on the portal, all of the information, all of our products. You can see here, we cover all the way from ages 20 to 85. So there's a little bit of something for everyone in our platform. And with that gives you that 360 protection with Ethos. So you start out, you have protection against capital gains, tax, market loss with the Ethos IUL. You can then pivot. We've got Ethos term with living benefits, which is a great product. It's going to help your client with loss of income. they have any type of illness or anything that comes over them, they are covered there. And then, of course, they have that free living trust and will. This is a great, in my opinion, a great selling point to your clients. Randy was talking about, being a little more aggressive with your sales. And so the first thing that comes to mind is your living trust, and asking your clients when you meet with them, what happens if you die? Do you have a plan? You look around when you meet with a client virtually, you can see in the background, maybe they have pictures of their kids. Who is going to take care of your children? Maybe they have a dog or a cat that's on Zoom with them. My cat is always on my lap during Zoom. So easy right there. Who is going to take care of your pets? All of that is something they can put in that living will and trust. So when you're talking about being aggressive, that's the first thing that comes to mind, is using those tools to position to your client just how important this coverage is. And I'm super, super excited to announce, coming very, very soon, we are now offering 35 and 40-year terms on our Ethos Term Prime product. So if you have clients ages 20 to 40, they would be eligible to get all the way up to a 40-year term on that term product. Ages 41 to 45, they can go all the way up to a 35-year term. So this is built into our funnel. You can just right there on the quoter, you can go ahead and swipe up and down on your coverage, and then you can select your policy term length, anything from 10 all the way up to 40 years. So it really is unparalleled. It's really going to give your clients lots of options. It's going to give them phenomenal pricing, goes up to $2 million max. In my opinion, this truly is a game changer. When you're thinking about sitting with someone who's 30, 40 years old, putting them in that 40-year term that's going to protect them all the way up until age 80 truly is unheard of and phenomenal, and a great option for you to have in your Rolodex when you're meeting with your client. And it's just, in my opinion, another feature that is going to set Ethos apart and make them a unique sale when you're sitting with your client. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, and then we can kind of jump into some Q&A, is the Ethos VIP Lounge. So, Randy was just asking if everyone had their tickets to this event. So I am super excited to announce that we will have an Ethos VIP Lounge. So it's going to be a great opportunity to meet and greet with some of Ethos and GFI leaders. We are running a contest to qualify for this. So 60-day contest, 10 personal applications to qualify. So this is doable. We want to see as many people as possible in the Ethos VIP Lounge. I imagine we're going to have some great snacks and fun things going on in there. If I have anything to do with it, there'll be good snacks. So this is going to be a really exciting event. I am really excited for this. I'm super excited about the opportunity to meet with some of our Ethos VIPs and get the opportunity to spend some time and get to know everyone. So 60 days, 10 personal apps, definitely doable for everyone on this call. And I cannot wait to see you all in our fun lounge. I'm sure we have tons of questions in here. Randy, that was all I had for the slides.
Thank you. That was awesome. And thank you for just going through that and delivering that message. I'll tell you, it's cool to see it all just begin to translate so easily and make sense. Like, our worlds are just becoming closer and closer. And that's just going to help us move faster, like I said earlier. I do want to go over some product questions that people have. And then I will go back and touch a little bit on this VIP Lounge contest, because I'm personally fired up about it. I got excited at one of our last meetings and told not only like the director, I don't know exactly Erin's position title, so I won't make it up, but Erin has a serious position at Ethos. And I told her I was going to go on a personal campaign to protect 100 families in the month of September for Life Insurance Awareness Month, because I had all these ideas I was going to launch. And let me tell you what happened. I did not hit my goal, but here's what did happen. I believe I personally recruited about 5-6 people. I believe 5 of them counted for September. And that is a better pace than I had before. Does that make sense? I also activated, I believe, 12 personal policies with Ethos, and I think 20 something total. And that was other carriers that we also activated. But here's the best thing about it. I started to see the holes in my game. I started to see where opportunities slipped away. I started to see where I could utilize the infrastructure Ethos is already giving me to like optimize my digital presence and also manage my quotes and sales and everything just better. I started to learn really where I could improve and where we can tighten things up. I started seeing where I could learn from other people. I started learning who's doing really well with it and what they're doing because I had this obsessive goal of 100 families. Now, I'm going to run for it again this month in October. 10 should be no problem. I'm going to go close a sale right after this. I have 2 families to meet with, and guess how I'm getting in the door? With a trust. With a trust, with a trust, with a trust. That slide of 360-degree protection, and I know we're going to cover some product solution stuff, which is great. But let me tell you something. I notice that a lot of the people that don't necessarily have the results that they desire, and I've been one of those people in different seasons of my career, right? We all get dissatisfied with our results or maybe don't hit our goals. And here's the goal. You got to learn to have fun with it. Remember this, the 5th F in our fulfillment formula. Like, you got to have fun with this thing, right? It's fun. I had fun running for 100 and miserably failing publicly in front of everybody. Does that make sense? I had fun doing it. Why? Because at the end of the day, I know why I'm doing it, right? I'm doing it to protect more families. Did I protect more families? Absolutely. Did we improve? Did we get better? Do I have more content to share with my people that are also struggling, filling in the gaps in between, like all of us are? Yes. And that experience, which we all gain as we continue to fail forward and continue to improve ourselves as professionals, is what's so valuable. It's that failure-based experience. And so I want to encourage all of you, as you begin to engage with the ICA flow, right? As you begin to go on your PR campaign, right? Your personal record campaign, how many families you're going to protect. And I want you to let me know again, right? In the beginning, I saw some of your numbers, and I want to know your numbers now, right? After the contest launch, after 35 and 40-year terms on policies, right? After all of these new added releases coming from dropping here from Ethos, I want to know, what is your personal goal? How many families are you going to protect in the month of October, right? I'm going to go for 100 again. Why? Because I believe we can do it. I have existing clients. I have a bunch of people to field train. I have a huge network. I have a presence. I have influence. Like, there should be no reason why I can't go and do that. And as I'm trying to convince you that I'm going to do it, I'm trying to convince myself that I'm going to do it. Does that make sense? And I got and here's one thing we did. We staffed up. We're not just going to go write a bunch of sales and not make sure that they're placed. We're not just going to quote a bunch of people and not make sure that we go back and deliver. So let me tell you the name of the game here. Ready? If you want big volume, you got to get very good at follow up and follow through. Follow up and follow through. Follow up and follow through. And with the 360-degree protection that we have with Ethos on an instant approval in a seamless experience where Ethos is texting them all along the way, along with your admin, along with your personal touch and service and quality service and communication. Like, think about that client experience and start thinking, putting yourself in your client's shoes. What experience do I want to give my clients? What brand, right? What words do I want my clients and my agents to associate with their experience of working with me as a professional? Start to really take that seriously and make sure that begins to reflect in every phone call, in every response, in every text message, in every post, right? And over time, you begin to build not just a brand, but a reputation, and you really start embodying what you are hoping to become. I want to be a personal agent as a professional that is able to help hundreds or thousands of families personally. I would love to do that. But let me tell you what makes it a lot easier. And it's the one thing we all came here for: taking ownership of building an agency. I know that together with 186 people on this call, we could all go help way more families than I ever will personally, even if I do hit my goal of 100. So here's the goal: empower yourself, give yourself a personal record, make it a public intention, share it with everybody, create a culture of protecting families, protecting families, protecting families, and let's go and make some movement happen in the month of October. Not October and November. I'll see you at the Impact Awards. Right now, right? Where are you at right now as we speak? And where do you expect to be by the end of the month, right? And have fun doing it. Because let me tell you, life is way too short. I love this quote. Life is way too short to not put your soul into something. And I believe if you really want to be successful at anything, that's exactly what it's going to require. It's going to require absolutely everything. And everything that you do here is only going to circle back to enrich your efforts for every single loved one and every single person around you, including you. So again, whether it's the VIP lounge that inspired you, or just having better solutions for your clients, or just giving them a great experience, or you just want to make some freaking money and prove that you came here, you made a good move, whatever it is, I want to encourage you that these questions that we're about to answer for you, even though they're helpful, it's not the reason why you're going to change your life. Does that make sense? By the way, all of these questions, I'm an Ethos ambassador. I should know every single one of these. But here's the deal. Whether I do or I don't, I know where to get the answer. And let me tell you one thing, before you call anybody, I want you to, the best practice that I learned, because I've been bothering all the other Ethos ambassadors, like, hey, Hassani, so how do you do this? And hey, Caitlin, so how do you do this? And hey, Franco, how do you do this? And it's okay if you don't know something. You know what's not okay? For you not to know that tomorrow. For you not to know that tomorrow. And here's what I learned. All of this information I didn't know, every single little piece was in the portal. Every piece was in the portal. And if you're like me, and I'm just going to be transparent with all of you, if you're like me, I'm like, you mean I got to go in the portal and I got to read everything that's in there and I got to go? Yeah, you do. If you want to master your craft, and if I want to go protect 100 families, and by the way, if you don't want to do it, let me tell you what solution I found. Ready? I have a personal admin that I repurposed in a new role. And let me give you her role. Ready? Her role is client success. Her role is making sure families are protected, making sure they have a great experience. My job is to have the conversation. The client agrees they need it. We go ahead and get started. I hand it off and I go talk to the next family. And I go talk to the next family. I get the commitment and the yes, and then I pass it on. Does that make sense? And so I hope all of you are finding a system, a flow, a workflow that either whether you know everything or you don't, that you are solution oriented, that you are resourceful. The best quality an entrepreneur can have is adaptability and being resourceful. And I want to encourage all of you to embrace your entrepreneurial spirit and find these answers and find these solutions, right? So as we begin to answer these questions, do me a favor. And as you think of any of these questions, please make sure you continue dropping them in the chat, because as we're going, we want to make sure we address them all. I have a personal goal to see Ethos go from 6,000 clients year to date to 6,000 clients a month. I know the horsepower we have behind this team. And look, 6,000 clients a month is just an indicator that we're beginning to get some traction. That's not an impressive number. I believe GFI can protect 1 million families a month with Ethos every single month. And I believe we can begin scaling from there. Our goal is to dial ourselves in at the Impact Awards and get prepared for the new year to go to millions of families protected a year with Ethos alone, not let alone all the other carriers. And I'm telling you, we're going to be able to make that happen. And if we're protecting millions of families a month, just imagine the revenue and the exciting profitability happening throughout your business. And what a noble cause to go and protect families and that come back and obviously create some equity in your life, I think is a very worthy cause for us to get after it and go out there and make it happen. And so, Madison, I'm going to throw these questions at you because in my public confession, some of these are beyond my understanding. I haven't gone through the full portal. Right?
That's okay. I've tried to answer some of them as we go. Happy to speak to them. But like you, I'm so glad that you said that because, you know, I have been with Ethos since May. And I feel like I know a lot, but as the industry is ever changing and GFI's feedback is ever changing to what we need, one thing I love about Ethos is how quickly we change and adapt things. So there are definitely things I don't know also, and that is always my first go-to. I actually have my portal up here. I have a portal where I'm registered as a GFI agent, so I can see all of the same stuff that you guys all see. So that's my go-to too also. The portal's awesome. And it's nice because if you guys ask a question that I don't know, I go to the portal and I can't find it. That's an immediate indicator to me that I need to reach out to a Neri or someone in marketing and say, hey, we need this question answered in the portal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for all of us that are looking to increase our sales with Ethos, I just want to touch on our resources briefly, and we'll go over some of these questions as well. Number one, so what is your new best practice, right? Your best practice anytime you have a question, right? Or anytime you have downtime, or if you want to invest yourself in mastering your craft with a certain carrier. And I'll tell you, that's a great way to start. You're not going to master every product overnight. You're not going to master every solution overnight. But if you can gradually begin to master piece by piece, and I'm telling you, Ethos is just the easiest, best, most seamless experience you're going to give your client, especially when you're just getting started. So I would encourage all of you guys to go from carrier to carrier and master your craft as you wish, but begin with Ethos. And so here's your best practice, kind of waterfall effect, if you will, right? Number one, you want to make sure you go and you study that portal. Any solution, any question, type it into that portal, number one. Number two, know who your representative is. Who's your Ethos representative? You got to know who that is, right? Number three, who is your Ethos ambassador? And whichever one you find, that's the one. Does that make sense? If you're not on my team, I'll still help you. It doesn't matter. We're Ethos ambassadors, right? We're all GFI. That's how we work. And so I want to encourage you guys to just keep those resources close to you. And here's the difference between having, let me just tell you, little tiny things that make a big difference. Like, is your representative's contact information in your phone? Is their email one of your favorites? Does it make sense? Do you have this portal like bench or bookmarked all over your devices? Do you make it easy for yourself and for your agents and for your clients to do business with you, right? Or is it like, oh man, let me go figure out where that is. You know what? Give me a second. Let me call somebody. You can't be that person, right? And you definitely can't be that person very long. And you don't want to feel that way, right? Where you're like, oh my God, it just brings that anxiety in because you're what? Not prepared or not prepared to be resourceful in the moment. And so I want to encourage all of you guys to just continue to work on this, continue to make sure you get more and more familiar. If any of you need support or help or whatever it is, find me on Telegram or talk to your EMD. And that was going to be my fourth point. Get close to your EMD and your field trainer, marketing director, whoever it is you're working with directly. Make sure you schedule off-site set or individual sessions to just get better at this. Does that make sense? One of the questions, and just to dive into some of them, because I see this is a good one from Johan in New York. Does Ethos adapt the recommendation based on credit or more on medical questions? And Madison said medical. Right now, I want to go through these questions just because I know maybe the individual got their answer, but there's other people that have the same question that maybe didn't ask it, and I think we'll get some value. And so one of them, and I'll go through 5 of them just real brief, and then I'm going to give you guys a little strategy on how you can max out your results here before the end of the year. Look, I want to see all of you at the VIP lounge with Ethos. And I want to hear a story of how maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these strategies served you in your efforts to qualify, right? We're all going to go out and make a commitment. And listen, there's 177 of us here on this call. We dropped off 10 or 11. But here's the deal. I want to really see a commitment from all of you. I got to give Eric a commitment coming off of this call. We had 177 and we committed to help, 300,000 families just with the people on the call. We are going to add this up and we are going to report the number because we do want to be held accountable because that's the nature of the business we're in. And so anyway, I hope you guys get some value from these questions and continue dropping them in if you can. Madison, thank you for answering them all. And for the rest of everyone else that's not going to ask a question no matter what we say, here's what I will tell you. Read through the chat. I've already learned a lot just by reading it, right? So, all right, the first one, and I know you answered this, is term with Ethos convertible.
No, so not at this time. I always say never. We're always working on new things, but at this time, the current product that your client is in is the product your client will need to stay in outside of canceling and reapplying for something else.
Got it. And I know the big magical question is living benefits and IUL in California. And but what I do want to attach to that question is someone asked about if current policies will be able to be grandfathered in for living benefits, or if they would just have to write a new policy.
Yeah. So another good question. They will not be grandfathered in. I wish they could be. However, as the date of that application would be before the state granted us approval to sell there, we can't modify their existing policies, or we would. So new policies only when that rolls out. I wish I had a date for you. They keep telling us any day, any day, any day. All I know is soon. At this point, I am just praying for this year.
Awesome. I think that makes all of us, right? So with that said, another question that I saw in here is, does whole life products also give clients access to estate planning tools like a living trust?
It does. So all products sold on the Ethos platform. So the only thing that's going to be an exception here is the John Hancock ROP, because that is a link out experience. Any product on the Ethos platform, including the whole life, now has the Ethos free will and estate planning available.
Awesome. Super helpful. Another thing I wanted to ask is, I know the bundle.
Yes.
If you could talk a little bit about the bundling of policies and the fact you can do IUL and add another term. I think details.
Yes. Yeah, so this is great. We now have the ability. Let's see, I think I actually have a slide that walks through all of the details that kind of lays it out phenomenally. But so you can now bundle IUL and choice term products. So this is great for your clients who maybe are looking for like a little bit of both. Or they're looking for more coverage. And so essentially what it does, it's going to give them Ethos IUL, Ethos term choice product. It's going to, in your quoter, it's going to be, you can slide your IUL all the way up to what you want it to be. And it's just a little question. Do you want to add term to it? And so you can ask your client if they're looking for, additional coverage, another product. And if they are, you can just go ahead and click to add that on right there. It's one seamless process. It's pretty great. We've had quite a few agents that have used it, love it. I kind of think it's a game changer. It's a good way to, in my opinion, kind of lock down persistency. It makes the business more sticky because your client now has multiple policies with you. And so that's harder for someone else to come behind you and replace. And it gives you two sales at once. So, it's pretty great. I definitely recommend everyone checking that out.
That's awesome. And look, the questions like, did I just hear that correctly? Right? You get free estate planning with every single product that Ethos sells. Yes. And look, it's a template. You should help your client fill it out. You should get it printed, get it notarized, get it recorded with the county, transfer deeds, get a bank account. There's details to it. But what does that give you as an agent taking the time to do this when you're not getting paid to do that for your client? What does that do for you? It gives you the most intimate inside look into every little nook and cranny of their finances and just overall assets, to be able to place other solutions and recommend other needs that need to be filled. So, and look, it's essential and very necessary. And forget about the assets. Look, if you're a parent and you don't have a trust, let's assume both parents pass away. Who is the new guardian of that child? And have you appointed or made any note in a trust at all? Number one, if you're just a parent, forget assets. Number two, what if you get incapacitated and now there's medical decisions that need to be made and medical or financial burdens that are being accumulated that you would not be able to or want your family to bear, but they can't make a decision because they don't know what you wanted and they don't know where your bank accounts are. They don't know how to pay stuff for you. And now it's just a freaking mess. I've been there. That's what brought me to this business. My brother fell off a motorcycle. We had a $700,000 medical bill. My parents, in the middle of the real estate market crash, were trying to figure it out. And my mom wasn't working, but she was taking care of my brother. That's my personal experience of what brought me into this industry at 19 years old, was watching my parents deal with financial storms from an unexpected event. And so I want to give you guys just some language, some questions, and I know we can have questions here like forever. And Madison will address them individually. Go ahead and read the chat, but just in interest of time, I want to make sure that, I give you guys some scripts or maybe some framing around the conversation of protection, around the conversation of, being prepared, planning, which is what we do. Think about it. Preparation, just that word alone. I think it makes sense for families to embrace the concept of being prepared, right? Getting their affairs in order, making sure that the future is stable, whether they're alive or not. That they don't leave behind burdens and they can leave behind some blessings, right? And so that conversation needs to become very comfortable for you. It needs to become second nature to you. And it needs to be something that's easy. And here's what I know. You feel that way now about something else, if not this, right? And I'll just role play with Madison because we haven't done it, but let's just do it. So Madison, what's something that you, is there like an instrument that you play, a sport that you played, a hobby, an interest, hiking, anything that you like that you're like, I could talk about this all day long. It doesn't have to be about work. It could be anything.
We'll go with soccer. I've got 2 competitive soccer players and I played competitive soccer. So
okay, awesome, right? Same, right? I played soccer myself at a high level, and I don't care where I am. If a little kid's playing with a soccer ball, I'm like itching to go kick the ball with the little soccer kids, you know what I mean? And I can have a conversation and connect with these kids over soccer, or it could be an older person. It doesn't matter. And I could talk about it all day long. I don't need a script. I don't need a PowerPoint. I'm not nervous because it's familiar and easy. So what am I trying to say? If you invested yourself for a few hours a day for about a week or 2, and it became a best practice of yours to just refresh what you do, and just refresh your learning. And let me tell you why that's essential. Like our products change, right? Economic climates change. Product trends or needs of the client shift and change. Our clients' financial strength and their own financial picture changes all the time. So we need to maintain ourselves relevant and in communication with our clients and make this a very regular conversation. Your client should be calling. Imagine if your client called you every month at the end of the month after they reviewed their budget every month and just found more ways to save more money with you, because that's the framework that you created from the beginning of the relationship, right? You're not just being transactional, you're building a long-term relationship with your client. And Ethos is just the beginning. The trust building is just the beginning. And so here's what I can tell you. I might not get everyone to agree that they need life insurance, but I can get anyone to agree that they need a trust. Because I say, look, when you pass away, do you want your family to have directions left behind by you? Or do you want them to just argue about it instead? That's basically what you got to ask people. Does it make sense? You got to ask people questions that makes it real. And so I said, hey, I have a question. When someone passes away without life insurance, what do you typically see? And then you let them tell you. And they say, well, GoFundMe, or the families begin collaborating, or whatever it is. So look, nothing wrong with that. I've been there myself. But if there was a way to avoid it, and if for $30 a month, someone can just have peace of mind and it doesn't become a burden for the rest of the family, wouldn't that be a better approach? Wouldn't that be a better way to move forward? Wouldn't that be something you'd want to do? By the way, if we can get this approved in the next 10 minutes, can you just give me your date of birth? If we can get this approved in the next 10 minutes, can you just give me your date of birth real quick? Right? And my point is, you have to almost move people into the process. And look, here's what I tell people. Stop selling a product. Stop talking about the instant approval and all that. That's a good factor. Start selling the need. Start talking about, what does it look like when you pass away with no life insurance? Can your family afford to keep your standard of living, or does that need to change? Can your family afford to keep your standard of living, or does that need to change? So what do we need to sell? The need for protection, the need for protection, the need for protection, the need for protection, right? And guess what? When I ask somebody, hey, when you pass away, do you want this home paid off? Or would you want your family to figure out how to make the payment? Would you want the home paid off, or would you want your family to figure out how to make the payment? And they're going to say, well, I'd love for it to be paid off. Great. If we can put together a plan that pays off your home and it fits in your budget, is there any reason why we couldn't see if we get you approved in the next 10 minutes? So all you're doing is establishing a need, getting a commitment to fix it, and then directing towards the solution. And we can do all of this verbally, but guess what? Now you don't have to go back to the client 3 weeks later, maybe if they keep their appointment. You can do it instantly on the spot over the phone, on Zoom in 10 minutes. You know how many windows of 10, 15, 20-minute calls you could be doing all day long? And then there's a QR code and a link that you could just send to people after they say, yes, I need life insurance. Great. Look, do me a favor. Go ahead and establish some term protection through this. We'll talk about accumulation on our next call. Once you get the term and final expense product out of the way, we can begin to engage with your trust process. And then on our second call, we'll talk about accumulation and your rollover. And if you want to talk about revenue share, potentially starting part-time, like you mentioned, we can discuss that on our third call. But this is going to be a little process. This is not a one-time transactional relationship. Our goal is to have a long-term relationship with you, and we're going to knock off each priority as we go. How does that sound? Sounds great. So what am I doing? I'm just framing it, and then we're going to add whatever product makes sense. Look, I want to add Ethos to every single client. All my Corebridge clients, I still send them the Ethos portal, even though they got something. You know why? Because at the end of the day, they might add more coverage, and at least they have it, and they start sharing it with their friends. So I encourage all of you to get very, very focused on, look, I'm just going to get a little technical with you. If you write business with other carriers, it probably won't hit on time for the impact awards. For all of you, like, what does he mean by we should lead with Ethos? If you write business with other carriers right now at the end of the year, that business may or may not hit in time for our end of the year impact awards. Does that make sense? So what does that mean? Does that mean that you just put clients with Ethos even though it doesn't make sense? No, that's not what it means. But should you lead with Ethos? Yes. And I'll tell you what happened on the very last call before I wrap up. I met with a client and I said, look, let's get an instant approval out of the way. So she got it instantly approved for $350,000. She needed about 800 grand. So we got her a $500,000 policy with Corebridge on top of it with living benefits because we're in California, and she's fired up about it. And guess what? When she pays off her car at the end of the year, we're going to start up her IUL, and I'm going to do that with Ethos, hopefully, assuming that they have IUL in California at that point. And if they don't, then I'm going to do it with another carrier, and the client's going to be happy, and we're going to do a great job for her. Does that make sense? So be adaptable, like we said, as an entrepreneur. That's a big one. And I do want to mention, if you want to activate 10 policies, here's what I do that helps, or that's been helping. You want to make sure that you keep it visual. You keep it in front of you. Like, make a big list, put it in front of you in your workspace, put it everywhere you can, and keep these people's names and just begin checking them off. I have a huge list of people. And here's how I framed it in my mind. Whose funeral am I unwilling to show up to without financial support from one of our products? Like, who do I not want to see pass away without coverage? Like, and I'll be honest, you know what started coming to mind? All their little kids. Right now, as we speak, I have my sister-in-law fighting cancer. I have one of my best friends who's like a mentor of mine fighting cancer. I just got a phone call, I got a text message right now as we speak from a teammate of ours who won't be going to our Puerto Vallarta contest because his father just passed away of cancer today, right now. So what are you waiting for? What are we waiting for? I have this list of people I could be calling. What are we waiting for? I'm speaking to me, right? And so listen, before we get off of this call, we could have a good 3-hour session with Madison, just question and answer. We're not going to do that today. But I have a question for you. What is it going to take for you to dedicate yourself to protecting families? Period. Like, that's your business. That's what you do. Whether it's a trust, whether it's life insurance, whether it's with one carrier or the other, it doesn't matter. You can't hurt people with life insurance. Does that make sense? That's why I love these products. You can't hurt people with principal guaranteed based products where they're not losing anything. Does that make sense? So I want to encourage all of you, like, let's get more serious. Let's go out there and help more families. If all of us shared stories we've heard of what happens or what has happened to families that pass away without coverage, without financial stability, we all know how that story looks. And look, is it the end of the world for everybody because of money? No, but it does make it more challenging, right? It does create friction that's unnecessary. And so let's get out there and make it happen. Let's make a difference while we still can. Let's insure people while they're insurable. And I want to encourage all of you to renew your commitment. So I want to see these numbers. I want you to drop it on the chat before you get off. And I'm going to call each and every single one of you that I see on this call. And I'm not calling you out. I want you to know that respectfully. I'm calling you forward. This is an invitation. You know how good it feels to make a commitment and actually get it done? To set a goal and actually get it done, right? Like, I don't know if I don't like, I'm dead committed October. I need to go help 100 families with Ethos. And guess what? If I don't help 100 families with Ethos, you know what's going to probably happen? I'll probably help 100 families in October and they won't all be with Ethos naturally. But the fact that I helped 100 families myself personally, if you know that, that's a big challenge. That's a big task when you're a busy person running around doing everything. But you know, I discovered this thing called, write this down, focused work. And I want to encourage all of you guys to do some research around the concept of focused work. And it means that you create a focused environment and you dedicate yourself. And I believe in 4 hours of focused, driven, undistracted, pre-planned execution, let's freaking go type work. You can do more in 4 hours than you've done all month if you actually dedicate yourself to it. So again, I love these commitments. I see Rosie with 30. That's awesome. I think that's the biggest one I've seen. Congratulations for making that commitment. Christy Ray with 10, 5 per week. You know, that's a different approach. I like that. 5 per week, nice and consistent. Michelle Diaz, 15. Senna, I think I said that name correctly. That's 20. Steve Simmons, you like focused work? I like it too. Brett with 20, 25. Steve Simmons. Johan, 20 families, 10 per month. Paul Heyman, I love it. Right? Sandy Fuerte, Marcel. Sandy, you're going to match my 100? All right. Oh, as a team, I love that. I love that. By the way, I don't care if I do it personally or in my base shop, but that's a great goal. 100 families helped. Let's make that happen, right? Look at that. All of you are making these awesome commitments. You know what's going to be even better than making them? Keeping it, right? Keeping it, keeping it, keeping it. And not to impress anybody, but just straight up to impress yourself. Because you know what I found? When we actually try and we give our best, we surprise ourselves at what we can do. And I hope that you begin to discover new potential for yourself immediately right after this call. By the way, it's 7:10 in California. I don't know if you're on the East Coast or in a different state, wherever you are, like find a way to take action immediately after this call. I don't care if all you did was write your list, that's taking action. I don't care if you schedule emails or text messages or whatever it is that you, but here's a great habit to build. Take action. Action, action, action. Take action immediately after this call. I do want to highlight one little thing. You know, through Ethos, we have the ROP term, return of premium. It's like you pay for it and then you get all your money back. And while you have it, you get all these benefits that you would want to have anyway. And so my point is that ROP is a very niche product. Let me tell you why. Everybody would want to have their money back, but it is fitness-based and it's a niche product that incentivizes clients for healthy activity. One of the biggest links, speaking of cancer, one of the greatest, there was a study done, I believe, by Stanford, where they researched the number one cause of illness in our country is stress-related items. Stress, stress, stress. So remember I said, you got to have fun. It's not fun to be stressed. And by the way, stress is doing stuff you don't want to do. So here's what I'd tell you. Find a way to learn to like doing the things that you by nature don't like to do. Like, I don't like being on camera. I really don't. I don't necessarily like speaking to people in an influential manner. Does that make sense? Like, I'm good keeping my opinion to myself. But here's the deal. The rewards that I've seen, not only in myself, in my community, in the people around me, in my family, in my daughter, just from, I got a video from a friend of ours, one of our business partners, and he sent me a video. He sent me this Apple Watch as a gift because he saw me shopping for one and they didn't have them in stock at Costco at the men's retreat. And I just thought about it. He sent me this little video note and just me. I opened it up. on my way to dropping my daughter Soleil off to school today, and she heard the way this man spoke of me or towards me, and I just saw her light up. I saw the impact it made on her just hearing her dad get edified in a video or on a call. And I'm telling you, this is far more than just work. This is far more than just money. This is far more than just GFI and making history and all these business milestones and metrics. All of it is super important. But you know what's important? How you feel about yourself after you make a commitment and you keep it, and that your family and the people around you are watching you grow and improve, and the impact it makes on them and their identity, because the life around you begins to not just transform from like, wow, look at my home, but it starts transforming because of the spirit in the home. And let me tell you, when financial peace and stability and strength is there in a home, it just takes that piece out of it. Does that make sense? Does that mean there's no challenges? There's challenges in my home all the time. We're remodeling right now. It's a challenge, right? You should see my Zoom setup right now. It's amazing. You should see it. It's hilarious. It's like things stacked up. It's pretty funny. I got a weird lamp lighting me up on this call, but we're adaptable. You know what I mean? We make it happen. And so are you. And so again, today was great. Madison, I don't know if you have anything that you would like to add or anything you'd like to refresh or make sure we keep in mind in our partnership. I did have one question. I don't know if you have the answer before I turn it back to you. I want to know, what do we need to do to become the #1 channel? Do you happen to know?
I love that. So someone asked that in the chat. I'm going to find out. I don't have the exact number right in front of me. I'm trying to get my reports to load. I think they shut down. It's 9:30 here. So it's a little late for my reports to be loading. I think they're updating for the night. I will find out the exact number of what we need and we'll let you know.
That's awesome. You know what I know that number is? More than we're doing now. I know it's more than we're doing now, right? So if all of us went out there and hit these commitments that we made, guess what? I can't wait. I want you to walk. Let's make an agreement with each other, right? If you're on this call, I hope we walk up to each other at the Ethos VIP lounge and we have a conversation about your journey there, right? I look forward to hearing it. So I hope you got value from today. I know I definitely did. And do me a favor, before you get off this call, I'm going to ask you guys for one thing. Can I ask you for one thing? Right? I just try to pour my heart and soul about Ethos on this call. Can I ask you guys for one thing in return? Look, I want you to go to Telegram. Right? Or I want you to go to whatever communication app you had on your team that your team works with. And I want you to give some feedback and help me share the message of the new ICA flow. Help Madison and I share the message of we've protected 6,500 or 6,700 families and we're going to go to 6,000 a month. I believe we will protect 6,000 families in the month of October if all of us just go out and have our purest, best intentions, which is, you know what, protecting families. You should be proud of that. It's a great message to deliver and be standing for every day. And so again, I am proud and honored to be in business with all of you. And again, thank you, Madison, for the partnership with Ethos.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed being on with you guys. I really encourage everyone, if you have not done so already, go out to your portal and go through that resource tab. And like Randy said, just learn some more information. In my opinion, the more valuable as agents we can be to our clients, the more clients you're going to be able to protect, the more you know, right? So that's kind of my call to action tonight. We've got a great chat feature on the portal. Check it out, familiarize yourself with it. And as always, let myself, Jamar, anyone at the Ethos team know if you guys have any questions or what else we can do to help support you.
I love it. Thank you. All right, everybody, let's have a great night. Let's have a great October. And I will see you at the VIP lounge at the Impact Awards. Take care.
You all there.